It says I'm live. There we go. Yeah, it's popped up now. Second lag or something. Testing. 1, 2, 3. The Democrats are stealing Iowa. Welcome to Slow News Day Live. My name is Steve Hoykinen. I am here in beautiful Boulder Creek, California. I am joined this evening by my good friend Jason Carney. Jason, what's up, buddy? How you doing?
How goes it?
So I've been kind of camping on been kind of camping on covering Iowa because the results weren't in yet. It didn't seem to be much of a reason to cover results at 1.7 or 62 or 71, but wait, we made a mistake. We got to go back a little bit. And then at 97, they seem to be holding firm for quite a while. I assume trying to figure out the best way to fuck Bernie Sanders out of, clearly winning this. The results are in with 100% reporting, with over 100 errors cited by the New York Times and a number of other mainstream outlets. And go little rat face Pete, CIA Pete, walked out of this with 26.2% to Bernie Sanders 26.1%, with a 3 delegate difference. Both are claiming victory. I say Donald Trump won. How about you, Jay?
Let me start by adding on to that Sanders won the popular vote, and that's really what matters in the end. This whole caucusing nonsense is just a giant circle jerk of tradition that it needs to be eliminated from any type of politics in this country. And your assessment of Donald Trump and the GOP winning? Yes. The whole Iowa situation makes them look like a bunch of incompetent dumbasses who can't run a simple election, let alone a government. They didn't do anything to help anybody's cause when it came to the Iowa screw-ups. They're trying to blame it on people who are dialing up on the hotline to try to block out, allegedly, the chair people of these individual precincts from being able to call in the results. It was a horrible setup in which there's a lot of questions about this shadow. Love the name there. That's not at all conspiracy theory invoking. There's questions about the app. It wasn't tested. Even if they had ran out to a high school election for president, class vice president, and tried it there, I could have given them a little bit more credence. But they just put it out there. And then what were they expecting? A smooth, simple rollout? I mean, come on.
Well, let's go over that for a second, because a company called Shadow Inc., which was started with seed money by DNC party insiders working through a group called Acronym, which is funded heavily by a super shady Silicon Valley tech billionaire named Reid Hoffman. Produced an app, as you said, untested, a mere couple of days before the Iowa primary. And lo and behold, the projected winner, Bernie Sanders, was not the projected winner. You could only write this in really bad 1950s like comic book noir.
And that's the sad truth. At the end of the day, what Iowa represents, who cares? It's got 41 freaking electors, whatever the hell they want to call themselves. Iowa wasn't about winning the big prize. It was about creating momentum for New Hampshire, South Carolina, Nevada, then Super Tuesday. And what the DNC and the media were able to do was take away from Bernie Sanders any ability to create that momentum going. New Hampshire, he's going to show strong. Let's be real. But South Carolina is a huge thing we need to focus on. Nevada with the large Latino vote. This could have been a momentum builder for him, and the DNC and the mainstream media. This isn't conspiracy. There's no tinfoil hats. Were able to put a kibosh in that. So on the night when he's supposed to be giving his victory speech and start rallying people, getting people whipped up about the campaign, he has to sit there and go, I don't know. I mean, Mayor Pete over here says he's won. I'm looking at my numbers. My numbers are accurate, saying that I won. It was absurd that the Iowa Democratic Party could screw up so badly.
We've got the numbers. There's a Twitter account called like Iowa+Caucus or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
We do have a link to that and should be able to put it up on screen here in a minute. But yeah, I mean those are the numbers as far as what's being reported right now.
Well, that's the thing, and you said it perfectly. Trump and the GOP won because if one single state with not a very high population can't run their own caucus after having 4 years knowing that they were going to be first in the nation. I don't know why. I still question that. I mean, I like the hashtag Iowa so white. That was great. It's not diverse. It's no real standing. It's an ethanol corn producing state, hence why it's even considered, and still don't know why, as for one of the first in the nation primaries. I've been calling on it, and I know others have been calling on it, for a more diverse state with a larger population and a larger cross-section of the actual American electorate to go first. They had 4 years. How?
Well, what they did in those 4 years is they figured out the best ways they possibly could to make sure that a progressive or anyone further to the left of, Elizabeth Warren at the podium at the Federalist fucking club there, the Federalist Society, like that they didn't win. This isn't, and here's what I wanted. Here's whoever's watching the screen right now. What I want you to look at isn't Bernie Sanders' delegate count or percentage of victory or anything like that. I want you to look at the fact that CIA Pete, that Joe Biden, and that Elizabeth Warren all had a viable number of delegates, had a viable percentage to win. And what the game is always going to be, what the game has been since the fucking Unity Conference in 2017, isn't to have someone that's an empty suit, warmonger, centrist, friend of the military industrial complex, win enough delegates to get through the convention on a first round cleanly. It's to prevent Bernie Sanders from doing that. It's to make sure there's a contested convention. It's to make sure those fucking super delegates get to vote on the second round of balloting. And if this trend continues, if it stays like this, Jason, we are guaranteed a contested convention. And then the question becomes, what the fuck are Bernie Sanders people going to do about it? Are they going to fucking bitch online and then go,
Right.
Like,
well, that's a great question. And the thing is I've been trying to talk to other fellow Sanders supporters, other personalities that are, people in the world, influencers, whatever you want to call them, and going, what are we going to do when it comes to the nomination convention? And we know what the foregone conclusion is, unless Bernie sweeps an absolutely massive amount of delegates to throw them over the 2,100 or and some change threshold. What are we going to do? Are we going to descend on Washington, D.C.? Are we going to, what's the game plan this time? Because going, fuck you, and then doing nothing after is not a good solid way to affect any sort of change. And I think it was JFK who said, though, about the whole, making it hard for peace or peaceful protest, it makes it, inevitable for violent ones. We're getting to that point because it is so flagrant in front of our faces what the DNC and what these individual states are doing, the Democrat Party, It's not even a question anymore. You don't need the DNC lawsuit to figure out that they are hosing people. They are ignoring the will of their electorate, and they're doing everything in their power to ensure that the Wall Street establishment types, Mayor Pete, triumph. Mayor Pete has next to no support in the Latino community, African American, and any minority is not behind the guy, and yet somehow he's doing well in ultra white Iowa is supposed to be momentum for the next. He's going to do okay in New Hampshire. In South Carolina, I'll be lucky if he pulls in 5% of the vote. You go to Nevada, I'll be surprised if he pulls in 10%. You go on to any state that's not snowflake land, then he's going to have a real problem. And them trying to tout him as anything other than a pathetic Joe Biden light.
In like October or November of 2018, when this show was brand new, I had Savage Joy on, and I told her like everything that I'm telling you right now, and I told her that the DNC just needs to throw different candidates at different states that they think they'll do well. It's not about building momentum; it's about capturing a news cycle. And then if you capture that news cycle, you can kind of run with that until Elizabeth Warren wins a state, or Elizabeth Warren is in a squeaker with Bernie Sanders, or Joe Biden is, or when Joe Biden wins South Carolina and Bernie places. But it's for the DNC, it's win, place, or show.
Right. It's not about winning the overall. It's about taking away the news cycle from a progressive.
And making sure Bernie doesn't have a 51% majority to get through the first round cleanly. The absolute just lack of give a damn about the Constitution, the any semblance of election integrity, let alone
disenfranchising,
the will of the people, which is ultimately never mattered, but we like to tell ourselves that every couple of years. But just the flagrant disregard of all of the rules, and people, and this happened in 2016 when it was proven in fucking court. Bruce Riva, the DNC fucking attorney. Technically, there's no such thing as a Democrat. If we want to pre-select our candidate in smoke-filled back rooms, fuck you, buddy. We can do that. We are under obligation to follow our own rules or bylaws. They're just words on a piece of paper, fucking made to make peasants feel better. Like, and people still went, if I throw more money and vote harder at this, we're gonna get around the system.
You and I have known each other for what, 6-7 years?
Something like that now, yeah.
And our conversations always fall back into what's actually going to make change. And if you remember correctly, you'll be able to attest that I used to be the democracy type, saying that no matter what, as long as we build up enough, large enough constituency, then we can go forward and we can do anything. And then 2016 happened, and I started to kind of waver on that. And then all the nonsense, the unity meeting, all the other BS that was coming up. And it wasn't even Iowa that was the straw that broke the camel's back. You were 100% makeable. I expected them to not be like, okay, you can have the power now. Everything's great. But I did expect people to become more offended by the blatant BS that the DNC, DCCC, DSCC, all that other crap has pulled. And that's the part that scares me, is this almost complacency with being like, oh, well, they said they're a private institution. What are you going to
do? There's a couple of comments I want to address here while we're on the subject. Okay. Anthony Reyes in the chat, one of my chat moderators, I think my only chat moderator. I don't know. At any rate, Anthony Reyes, good motherfucker, said, where the fuck did that go? Mayor Pete and Warren were at meetings with Pelosi and Schumer to stop Sanders. Yeah, they were there with some very, very heavyweight donors. It was literally called the Stop Sanders meeting. It was even reported on like front page mainstream media.
John Kerry.
like it was a good thing, you know,
Mm-hmm.
obviously. Fucking where did it go? Oh yeah, the odds, King James, the odds of even needing that many coin tosses are astronomical. They just enjoy a game of coin toss. So if Bernie Sanders' campaign put out, it's the Iowa caucus was Festivus for
Mm-hmm.
him, right? Like, and the feats of strength came early in terms of him actually winning, but with the app and the DNC stepping in to take over counting of the votes because the Iowa Democrats apparently couldn't do it by themselves, even though they had successfully done it in the past. The DNC had to step in to count the votes. And while that happened, Bernie's numbers go down. Tulsi's erased completely. Andrew Yang loses to fucking Tom Steyer or Deval Patrick or something like
How?
some unheard of shit. There's no earthly way that happened.
Right.
All of this fucking goes down, and after the feats of strength, if you remember your Festivus tradition, the airing of
Yeah.
grievances comes in. And Bernie Sanders' campaign released a list of discrepancies that their tracking app and their precinct captains reported on. And like more than half of them. The last line of it is, and it came down to a coin toss and Warren won, or and it came down to a coin toss and CIAP won, or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, after 2016, with Mother winning 6 out of 6 coin tosses, and now Bernie losing every single one except for like 1 or 2 coin
Mm-hmm.
tosses. I would
With the
never fucking go gambling with Bernie Sanders.
We're
And
Jewish. What can we say?
I would never,
Gambling is not in our blood.
no, that's bullshit because Meyer Lansky.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Okay, I stand corrected.
fucking,
He's one of the tribe. What can I say?
not only that, but instrumental in forming the state of Israel and a global pedophile ring. Way to go,
Oh,
Meyer.
yeah, you're not a part of the tribe anymore there, Maya. Let me touch on two things that I think really haven't been addressed well enough. First off, Biden, this was supposed to be Biden's race, and I'll tell you why. There was a large number of the 50 to 65 crowd that voted in this particular race, and he failed miserably. Amongst all segments, I mean, he led with the 60 to 65% vote, but not by much, oddly enough. And the second thing I want to touch on is if Elizabeth Warren was truly running to get a progressive in the White House, she would look at this particular race and New Hampshire, because it's going to go bad for her in New Hampshire, and go, okay, if I truly stand by what I'm preaching, that I want a progressive to win, I'm going to step aside. I want to see if that happens. I doubt it highly, but I want people to keep this in their head. Joe Biden couldn't win an ultra snowflake white Iowa with the higher 50 to 65 crowd that voted. And Elizabeth Warren, whether or not she lives by the words
Oh, your
that she
internet is
preaches, we all know she hasn't.
up.
God damn it.
Yeah. Um,
Can you
I,
hear me okay?
you sound drunk and underwater.
That would be an interesting combination.
I, um, fuck.
I'm going after Verizon.
There's
A little
oh,
bit
so
better.
King James in the chat. People don't like you questioning Bernard. Saint Bernard, as Canova calls him. I have referred to him as Bernard Jesus Sanders on more than one occasion. Um,
I disagree with that because I'm an avid Bernie supporter and I call him out when he's wrong.
yeah,
That
no,
part bothers me.
like, okay, dude. There's a segment of
Oh, there
more
is.
critically thinking that it's usually the people that started off to the left of Bernie and moved to the
Mhm.
right just to support the idea of a progressive shift in the country. Um,
Right.
I mean, that's like I'm not gonna slight that. I just don't think we have free and fair elections.
Oh, I totally agree. And the person who commented is not wrong either. I'm not saying that they're wrong. It's just try not to
I
generalize.
all the time
Mhm.
for going after Bernie Sanders. I fucking I've had just people flee my Twitter account and fucking people, not want to come back on the show or not want to come on the free Assange vigil.
But I've
And
stood up every time you get those slings and arrows, because it's not about the cult of personality. It's about integrity, it's about honesty, and it's about policy. And I don't care who the face of it is. When you put out something that's a lie or crap, I'll be the first person to say it. Otherwise, even when it is quote unquote attacking Bernie, I'm diving in there, I'm retweeting, I'm liking, I'm jumping in when need be, because you're not trying to lie to people. You're not trying to make people go in one direction to vote for person A, B, or C. We're fighting for policy and ideas. That's what matters in the end. It doesn't matter the face it comes in.
I've made it abundantly clear that I am way down over here in the bottom left-hand corner of that like political square. Like Noam Chomsky is up to the right of me and shit. And like I'm not I'm not voting for a Democrat. Like I just I'm not. But I also live in Santa Cruz County, where my vote doesn't fucking matter for president. It just doesn't. California is going to go for whatever blue is in the race, regardless.
Right.
But I've been given a ton of shit for openly criticizing Bernie Sanders. I'm going to continue to do that, most of all because of his failure to speak on Julian Assange.
That's integrity.
But he's imperialism light. But you've heard me say this since the fucking forever. Like his goal is to marginally tinker around the edges of capitalism and catch us up to where the rest of the world was 45 years ago.
Right.
Like that is, on a long enough timeline, sure. But it's 2020. Shit has accelerated,
Well, that's the thing. I use, and progressives know this because I'm honest and I'm open about it. I use progressivism to show people that socialism isn't evil if it's implemented in this country, because I am a Marxist. I do not believe in capitalism. I think capitalism is a large debt, killing them, etc., than helping them. When Adam Smith rolled this out from feudalism, it was a great idea. It was a superb idea. Yeah.
You want to know how to make
started dying in the mid 1800s. Zombie.
You want to know how to make a libertarian go crazy?
Please.
You take a bunch of Adam Smith quotes and you slap them over a picture of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. And absolutely fucking just disavow every tenant.
That's the thing, though, Steve. I've been your friend for 6 or 7 years, and there's been times where we disagreed. But when you make your point, it's never in anything to convey information to people. That's been my credo. That's been others' credo. Just trying to enlighten. It can become enlightened, if you will. For someone to attack you based off of your critiquing a candidate A, B, C, or D, that's not something that I like. And I've been dealing with generalizations for Bernie Sanders. As you know, I was supporting him since 2015. I created People in 99% because of him. But I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid to the point where if he doesn't mess up the Julian Assange thing, I remember retweeting and commenting on what you put out there. I totally agreed with it. I hadn't seen anything on Julian. You were committing this crime against a person who has done no wrong, and you're not making commentary on it. It's nonsense. We don't have to believe in the entirety of candidate A, B, or C's policies to support them. We don't need to blindly follow any one person, even if it's a Marxist. I'm not going to close my eyes and go, dude is God or the woman is God. They're the greatest thing on slice. They can do no wrong. We have to critically think at all points. We cannot blindly follow any one person. And it's getting ridiculous. I've seen it with Yang. I've seen it a lot with Buttigieg. I've seen it a lot with Sanders. And it's something I'm trying to work on.
Trying to tell people to stop making heroes out of politicians. It's not going to work out the way that you want it to work out. You lost Jason for a minute. That's okay.
Where'd it go?
Oh, we lost your video.
Let's see. This is not good. Microphone is unmuted. That's fantastic. I'm not done speaking. Bring me back to the promised land. Yeah, the girl told me to. Okay, there we go.
There you are.
Yes. Can't see it. All right, but no, I mean, at the end of the day, that's what we need to stop blindly following a person. We need to be able to critically think and stand up to the person that we supported, because integrity is the only thing that matters in the end. When we're trying to convey information, we got to be trusted.
It's starting to turn into Life of Brian. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go and watch the now ancient Monty Python film, The Life of Brian. But there's a moment when Brian is addressing the crowd and he tells them, you are all individuals, and in unison, hey, yes, we are all individuals. That's what I feel like politics has become in general. And for the far right, it definitely is tied inherently to religion. The far
and the cult of personality.
Well, and we've always, since we've had fucking television, we've had a cult of personality.
Mm-hmm.
But every election since we've had television, we've only elected a cult of personality figure. Because the goal isn't to advance the nation forward, it's to advance a very small group of people forward while consolidating the wealth and the resources. So if you only run cult of personality types, you can slowly shift towards complete and total authoritarian fascism, and it takes people a while to notice.
But that's the thing. If this were 10 years ago, I would say the American people don't have enough access to information, so it's easier to pull the wool over everyone's eyes. But we have these sources of information. We have independent media. We have the ability to check and cross-checks, reference, and look up everything to find out whether something is accurate or not. And you don't need to spend 5 hours working on research. You don't need to be a college graduate to do it. All you need to do is take an assertion that they make and figure out if it's fact or fiction, and then move forward. It's not a situation where you have to be a political scientist to make all these things happen. Most of us in the independent media have no journalism degree. Most of us have varying forms of education, varying forms of how we conduct research, how we get information out, things like that. And yet we're still able to do it. So that should be significant for the rest of the population to go, well, if these individuals are doing it and they're doing a good job at it, why can't I? Why can't I look into something that I question? Why can't I critically think?
So for the secular left, politics has replaced religion. And what happens all too often, I don't care who your pet politician is, it becomes an issue of faith and an issue of belief more than any sort of reflection of the reality of the situation. The reality of the situation is Bernie Sanders wants to tinker marginally around the edges of capitalism, catches up to where the rest of the world was 40 or 50 years ago. The belief in the faith and the dogma is far larger than that. And when it's questioned, the majority of the people that are believers react as religious people react when you question their faith. And it's a lash out and a retreat in their corner, and they pick up their book, or they go to their meeting, or they go fucking, have their faith reaffirmed on Twitter, or they have
Cognitive
their
dissonance at the end of the day.
yeah, yeah, but it also reinforces this duopoly that we have at the end of the day. Bernie Sanders could save the Democratic Party for 50 years, and that is the most frightening fucking thing about it all.
That's absolutely true. I'm being told that I have to hang it up for the evening, but I'm sincerely hoping that there is a show tomorrow in which I can be on here for an extended period of time, because this subject is just getting fresh and I'm loving where we're going with it.
Yeah, no, I want to go into Acronym. We'll do that. Jason, thank you so much. Can you let the folks know where they can find you before you split?
People of the 99% on Facebook, at Quern on Twitter, PAREMQUERN, and Progressive Army, Real Progressives, areas in which you can find my writings.
Thank you so much, man. We will talk soon.
All right, brother. Talk to you later.
Always time with Jason on the show. Josh, if you could please, again, Josh is helping me out on the tech end tonight. Josh has been kind enough to do that for a couple of weeks now. Very, very stoked that he is here and he is doing that, because I am largely inept when it comes to that. But yeah, if you could, let's go to Acronym. Because this is some wild shit. Okay. This article's in the gray zone, and it's one of Max Blumenthal's. If you are unfamiliar with the gray zone, please go and look into that. It's a fantastic organization. They do great work. That's Max Blumenthal and Ben Norton's gig. And a number of other people write for them, and they host Aaron Mate's show Pushback through the gray zone. I want to see Tim Dillon on this show too. If you haven't, you have to go watch Tim Dillon's videos where he's Meghan McCain. It is so worth it. Anywho, this article was published this morning. So we know that the reason, well, you know what the results are because we just talked about them with Jason. The force of sowing the confusion and disarray surrounding the first Democratic primary contest 2020 election season is a dark money nonprofit called Acronym. It was an acronym that launched Shadow Inc. because, as Ron Placone said, Deep State Unlimited was already taken. The mysterious company behind the now infamous unsecured, completely unworkable voter app, which prevented precinct chairs from reporting vote totals on caucus night. So here's where they go into what I was talking about a little bit earlier about Reid Hoffman. Reid Hoffman is a Silicon Valley billionaire who's financed a series of highly manipulative social media campaigns. The billionaire founder of LinkedIn, Hoffman is the top funder of novel Democratic Party social media campaigns accused of manipulating voters through social media. He's assisted by Dmitry Melhorn, a corporate consultant who pushed school privatization before joining Hoffman's empire. One of the most consequential beneficiaries of Hoffman's wealth is Acronym CEO Tara McGowan, a 33-year-old former journalist and Obama for America veteran. That's sweet. Once touted as a weapon of a woman whose innovative tactics make her critically important to the Democratic Party, McGowan's name is now synonymous with fiasco in Iowa. She also happens to be married to senior advisor to Pete Buttigieg's presidential campaign. Let's see. She's grateful to be a part of that. At the time that she became a part of that, Hoffman had just been exposed for funding Project Birmingham, a covert disinformation campaign consisting of false flag tactics that aimed to depress voter turnout and create the perception of Russian interference in the 2017 Alabama Senate election. Hoffman and Melhorn faced scrutiny for their alleged operation of a series of deceptive pages which attempted to manipulate center-right users into voting for Democrats. Today's acronyms, McGowan oversees a massive Facebook media operation that employs similarly deceptive techniques to sway voters. Are you getting the background here? The company Acronym you should go watch the tinfoil hat episode of Sam Tripoli where they talk about Silicon Valley. But Acronym has its roots in one of the more shady digital media manipulation efforts over the last several years. Acronym ballooned since its founding into a massive dark money operation, even launching a super PAC dubbed Pacronym that has raked in money from hedge fund billionaires like Seth Klarman and Donald Sussman. What Melhorn and Hoffman never disclosed to the public, however, was their support for a Democrat-aligned group that waged a covert online disinformation campaign which aimed to influence the outcome of the 2017 special election. They do a significant dive into Project Birmingham. I am not going to do that tonight because it's already after 10 and I have to work tomorrow. So I'm going to bring it back and close it out. Please go to the Gray Zone. Take a look at that article. I will try to get a show in tomorrow night where I do this in 2 parts because it is incredibly well worth taking a dive into. We know that there's people who are on the convention committees for the DNC, the rules committee and the platform committee. And there's another one that I can't remember right fucking now. But we know that there's people that are on these committees overseeing how the convention is going to be ran that are also working on Bloomberg staff, that are also working on CIA Pete staff or married to someone on CIA Pete staff. The CIA Pete campaign gave like $42,500, $43,000 to this Shadow Inc. And they weren't the only ones. And they say that a lot of it was for Facebook ads. Well, if the fucking shady Silicon Valley billionaire who's best known for running manipulative digital social media campaigns is behind and the recipient of the money for these social media ads, why would you not think that they are the most manipulative and shady that they could possibly be if they're fucking coming from this guy? I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. So thanks everyone for hanging out. Thanks Josh for running the tech. Thanks to Jason Carney.
Thanks for coming, everybody.
That will do it for me. please subscribe to the channel and subscribe to Action+For+Assange on YouTube as well. If you are not aware, every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern, we hold an online vigil for Julian Assange, Chelsea Manning, and other whistleblowers. We are currently fundraising for events in Washington, D.C. and London during the first week of Julian's extradition hearing. There is a GoFundMe up for that. You can go to action_4Assange on Twitter or Action+For+Assange.com. Is it 4 now? Okay, Action for the number 4, Action+For+Assange.com. And you can also see all of the articles that we and other folks have written. And yeah, thank you. Until next time, I'm Steve Poikinen. This has been Slow News Day. Good luck to us all.